I will go, Obiora said firmly. It is my duty as a man. Nneka shook her head. It is not duty, my husband. It is a death sentence. But let me try this time, my love. Nobody has ever tried this, so it might work. Obiora hesitated. He knew his wife was stubborn, but this plan was suicidal. It was a bad one. Once upon a time, there was a village called Oba Udu. The people of Oba Udu were strong and hardworking, known for their big farmlands and great harvests. But despite their riches, a dark curse had haunted them from generation and generations: the sacrifice of men. Every 10 years, a great famine would strike. It came without warning. The rain would stop, the rivers would dry, and no matter how much food the people store, it would rot overnight. The animals in the forest would disappear and people would starve. But then, on the 13th day of the famine, when the village was at its weakness, something strange would happen. A group of mysterious women would appear in the marketplace. No one knew where they came from, and no one had ever seen them arrive. They did not walk in from the road like travelers, nor did they come from the forest like hunters. They simply appeared, sitting in neat rows behind wooden stores, selling food that no one else could find. There was just one rule: only men could enter the market to buy food. Any woman who tried to step inside vanished without a trace, and the price of this food, the life of the man who bought it. His husband, who walked into the market, left with enough food to keep his family alive until the famine ended, but within 7 nights, his life would be taken. The village whispered of a curse of spirits disguised as women who lured men to their deaths. But hunger was a stronger force than fear, and so the village continued its sacrifice, trading men for survival. The villagers called them the wives of the famine markets. And Nneka refused to accept this fate. She was a young bride, newly married to a man named Obiora, and she loved him more than life itself. She could not bear to lose him, not like this. So she made a decision. She would disguise herself as a man and enter the market in his place. That night, before the famine market opened, Nneka and Obiora sat in their small hut, whispering in the dim glow of their oil lamp. I will go, Obiora said firmly. It is my duty as a man. Nneka shook her head. It is not duty. It is a death sentence. But let me try this time, my love, Nneka said. Nobody has ever tried this, so it might work. Obiora hesitated. He knew his wife was stubborn, but this plan was suicidal. It was a very bad one. If they discover you, he warned, they will kill you. I would rather risk death than watch you walk into it. At least I tried. We tried, she said. The next morning, before dawn, she bound her chest, wrapped her head in cloths, and wore Obiora's loose garments, cut her husband's beard, and attached it to hers. Then she walked to the markets. Her heart pounded as she approached the gates. Would the women recognize her? Would the spirit sense that she was not truly a man? She hid her breath as she stepped forward. Then surprisingly, the gate opened. She was inside. The farming market was deadly silent. Unlike ordinary markets filled with noise and bargaining, this one was deadly quiet. The women sat in neat rows, their faces calm and expressionless. They barely moved, their hands resting on their laps, waiting for buyers. Nneka stepped forward cautiously, choosing a stall at random. "I wish to buy," she said, keeping her voice low and firm. The woman before her tilted her head slightly, her black eyes unreadable. "Take what you need." She gathered food, avoiding eye contact with the farming wives. Their voices were soft and irritating, but they did not seem to suspect her disguise. She paid for the food and hurried home. That night, she and Obiora celebrated. Their plan had worked. They had food without sacrificing his life. They laughed, they danced, they ate. But Nneka was not satisfied. "If I can go once, I can go again," she told Obiora. "But we have enough food to last until the famine ends and another famine comes again." So the next morning, she again disguised herself, this time as a different man, and returned to the market. When she entered this time around, she was very nervous, but feeling a sense of calmness after remembering what was at stake, she approached another woman this time. "I wish to buy," she said again, keeping her voice low. The woman before her told her, "Take what you need." Nneka quickly gathered yam, dry fish, and grains, but as she turned to leave, she dropped something. Bending down swiftly to pick it up, something strange caught her eyes. A tail. It was long and dark, curling from beneath the woman's stool, disappearing into the earth. Nneka felt her blood turn cold. These were not women. Her hand trembled, but she forced herself to remain calm. She hurried to another seller and pretended to drop something again. As she bent down, she saw it again, another tail. One by one, she confirmed it. All of them had tails, buried deep beneath their wooden stool. That night, she returned home, breathless and shaking. She told Obiora everything. "They are not human," she whispered. "They are something else." She decided she needed to know where they came from. So on the third day, she disguised herself again and followed them home. From a distance, they sang as they walked, their voice weaving through the tree. After hours of walking, they arrived at a great big tree. One by one, they lay down and sank their tails into the earth. This was their home. She hurried home. The next morning, Nneka and Obiora went to the village chief. The old man listened carefully, his wrinkled face growing grave. "We must seek the wisdom of Diba or Ka, the great seer," he said. Dibia or Ka was the oldest man in Obandu, known for his knowledge of the hidden world. When they told him what Nneka had seen, he nodded. "I have heard of them before," he said. "They are not of this world. They are Oboma, spirits that disguise themselves as women to steal the lives of men. Their tails are the source of power. Cut them off and they will become as weak as ordinary women." "But how do we cut them off?" Obiora asked. Diba eye gleamed. "We must use fire ants." Fire ants were small but fierce, capable of showing through flesh in minutes. If they placed the ant inside the hole beneath the stool, the creature would sever the connection between the woman and the earth. That night, Nneka went into the forest to search for the fire ants. After seeing their home, She broke it down and packed a lot. Then she sneaked into the market and filled the hole beneath the stool with fire ants. Then she waited. Dawn came. The farming wife returned, taking their place as they always did, sinking their tail deep into the ground. After the day's selling, they all automatically stood up to leave, and then the scream began. The ants walked quickly, biting, tearing, severing flesh from spirits. The farming wife crawled on their body, their eyes wide with terror. For the first time, they felt pain. For the first time, they felt fear. And then their tails fell away immediately. The gate opened, and the villagers stormed into the market, men and women together for the first time, capturing the farming wives for the first time in history. Nneka stepped forward, removing her disguise, her voice strong and clear. "You have taken our husband for centuries," she said. "Now you will face judgment." The farming wives were locked in the village dungeon, never to return. And as the sun rose higher in the sky, something miraculous happened. Rain began to fall. The famine was over. For the first time in a century, Oba Ndu was free. A hero remembered. Nneka became a legend, the woman who defied spirit for love and saved her people. And Obiora, he lived because of her, and the famine never came again. The end.